they came bounding over.
Why'd you do it, son?
Star Wars and the lowering of expectations. J.J. Abrams has finished his duology of his trilogy, building a character who was flawlessly overpowered. The new trilogy wants to be, I swear it wants to be Jason Bourne. It wants to be the Bourne trilogy. It's like,
but he has no memory.
The Bourne trilogy in space, except Jason Bourne's a woman, which would totally work. Like, you could rip off whatever story you wanted to. I think the fascinating part then would be to make Rey an evil character. Make Rey the clone of Palpatine. Or, yeah, you could make her the clone of Palpatine. Then you could get away with bringing back Palpatine. Palpatine would just be Rey, right? Suddenly you have like this big reveal that she's like the clone of the most evil, powerful person in the universe, and the reason she knows how to do everything is because she's a clone of the most evil, powerful person in the universe. It was the way to save it in the first one. So you got a character whose main character flaw is she's too powerful. Like, who makes that a character flaw? This is the problem with Beowulf, which is used as a guide of how not to write. Like, nowadays they teach it as a guide of how not to write a story, right? Beowulf is overpowered. He remains overpowered. Then he goes on to become king. It's boring. Like, it's been proven to be boring. I swear to God, these people need either to go to an English lit class or learn how to write. Like, go to a writing class. Sit down and spend some time listening to somebody who knows something about how to build something out of characters, how to write something out of nothing, how to brainstorm and all this stuff. It's important and it's hard to do. And you have to take consideration of the needs they have. And the needs can't simply be, I want to meet my parents again. They have to be more. Because nobody in life ever just has one need. They have a series of them, right? So you flesh out a character this way. And Rey is not given that opportunity. I swear to God, Kathleen Kennedy was standing over someone's shoulder and she was watching and reading out their words as they were typed. Like, the guy was like, A-N-D, and she's like, and Rey. And she's like, Rey loses. And she's like, did you just type loses? There is no losing. He's like, but dramatic context, Kathleen. You do remember how to make good films. And she's like, I don't care. The Force is feminine. And I'm like, the Force is trash now. But I think, like, the important part is to talk about Star Wars. Like, the arc of Star Wars. The whole modus operandi. Because what I've noticed is that people have started hating on the first two films because obviously the last one's going to be trash. And I think that's a little bit unfair. I think, like, Force Awakens isn't a bad film. It's not. It's got a really flimsy central character and good stuff around her. The rest of the film is fun. I mean, it's dumb, but everything in Star Wars is slightly dumb. Like, that's the great part of Star Wars. I mean, there are stupid parts to all the Star Wars. Like, the trash container is one of the stupidest things you'll ever see in your time. They slide down a ventilation shaft and end up in a trash container. So why do your ventilation shafts lead to a trash container, right? Like, you'd stink up the Death Star. Stinkiest place in the world, the Death Star. Anyway, so you just get dumb all the time in Star Wars, and I was okay with the dumb. I was like, yeah, I'll deal with it. I didn't like Rey. I didn't think she was a particularly good character, but I liked the other characters. I think John Boyega's Finn is a great character, and I think Poe Dameron isn't bad. For what he is, he's not bad. The actor who plays him is extremely likable, so that's a plus. You know, I thought the tiny Asian woman was annoying, but whatever. And no judgments there. Just, her character was not good. There are a lot of mistakes in that film. One of them not being killing Han Solo. I didn't mind the killing Han Solo, but herein lies my problem with that whole thing. Is that the only time Rey was likable was when she was with Harrison Ford. I shit you not, watch that film again. Harrison Ford brings out the best in that character. Like, they're really good together. They have good chemistry. They have a real father-daughter kind of thing going on. It's very cool. You know, it makes the points where they're together in the film likable. And then once he's gone, it falls back on the fact that Adam Driver and her have the chemistry of two wet noodles slapping each other vigorously. Like, you know, okay, so let's be fair. She has good chemistry with John Boyega, but he has good chemistry with everyone. The man is like the Cary Grant of modern actors. Like, you put him in a film, you know he's going to be good with everybody because he just has that kind of, you know, welcoming air that allows everybody to exist on screen. He doesn't attempt to eat everybody alive, you know, which is a nice thing in a film. I mean, a fallback actor who's good with everybody is what you want in a film with a large cast. I think also... I think Carrie Fisher, like, unpopular opinion, but Carrie Fisher is a really bad actress. Like, really bad. Like, just god awful. She was bad as Leia, okay? Leia was so well written. Now, you think about this. Leia was so well written that the fact that the actress playing her was enormously heinous didn't affect it at all. She was still great. Like, Leia's one of the best characters ever written because she's still likable, even though a woman who is stiff as a board is playing her. I mean, people complain about Captain Marvel being stiff. Are you kidding me? Have you seen Carrie Fisher act? It is like watching a board act. Like, you can hear the creaking of wood. You get these two films, right? And I was watching along in the first film, and I was with it. But I was with it because I believed certain things were happening. I believed, A, that Rey was secretly evil. And I was hoping this was true. And I swear to God, if you think about that, it makes sense. It makes everything in that series make sense. Rey is evil. She's an Empire plant. She's the... Well, I saw her as the clone of Palpatine, but she's a plant of the Empire, right? Makes everything make sense. Makes the story arc make sense. Makes the fact that she has the character dynamics of a fish who is in the background scenes of Kiss Kiss Bang Bangs. Seemed like he has, like, great character development. Like, seriously, there are animals in movies that have more, like, character development than Rey does. It's bizarre, right? She has no defining character traits. And I've seen people say that this is a good idea in film, and they're wrong. But there is a reason they believe this. There's a great clip of Anthony Hopkins explaining how to do it. It's really cool. He's like, I just don't, like, I clear my mind and then I do my lines and I try to make eye contact with the screen, and it really works. Like, you're like, wow, that man, I feel what he's feeling, and technically he's feeling nothing. But then they attempted to do that with a character. It's interesting. Anyway, I think that the two films are taking flack for the fact that the third one is atrocious. And I don't have to watch the third one to know. I just know. There's no way to write yourself out of a corner. Rian Johnson wrote them into a corner, and they're just not getting out of it. They're in that corner, and they're staring at it, and they're thinking, how do I get out? And somebody screamed Palpatine, and J.J. Abrams did a little joy dance and probably pissed his pants. And there's the explanation of why you have Palpatine in this film. This is why Palpatine is in this film. It is their get-out-of-jail-free card. They're like, we need to pull something out of our asses. Palpatine. He's large, but he'll come out. It's a bad idea because it invalidates all the storylines before that, and not what J.J. Abrams say, which is connects all the storylines together, because the sacrifice of Darth Vader is that he kills himself throwing Palpatine off there, because that is how he atones for his misdeeds. And when you have a character not dying because like it makes the atonement worthless, you're like, screw you, Darth Vader. You're still evil in my eyes. And Palpatine was secretly kept alive by a series of lava lamps connected to I don't fucking know. I don't really care how he explains it. I'm sure you could explain it somehow. It's shit. It's shit storytelling. But, you know, people don't mind as long as they get what they want, I guess. Anyway, Rey is atrocious, right? We'll go with Rey being atrocious. But Rian Johnson was given the hardest job. Like, you got to think about this. Okay, Rian Johnson takes over a series, right? And I think he was actually, like, chosen beforehand. You got to think about that. Like, he's given character version of the identity of Harry Lime in The Third Man. She's a non-existent character who revolves the plot, which is fascinating, but really bad for storytelling. Like, it's hard to tell that story because sure, you can begin it, you just have to throw a lot of action at it, right? I can imagine J.J. Abrams dropping the mic after the first one and being like, well, find a way to write out of that one, motherfucker. You know, JJ out, and he dropped the mic, right? So, you know, like it's the beginning of what could have been a great story, but it needs to have the cojones to go through with that story, and one of them is to make Rey evil. It has to do it. That story had to do it, or it was bound to fail. Everything revolves around it. Like, everything revolves around it. It's actually, I think Rian Johnson was really trying to push that direction. I think his original idea was to push that direction, and they wouldn't let him. They were like, no, we can't have that, because you know, for whatever reason, like, young girls are invested in Rey or whatever. You know, I can't get my daughter to watch Star Wars. And you would think if she was the lightning rod of everything female in modern culture, my daughter would be invested in Star Wars, but she's listening to, you know, Billie Eilish and stuff like that. Like, these people are really out of touch with what feminine culture wants. I swear to God. I don't know how they got so out of touch with it. Do you think women from a certain generation fostered such a hate on for men that they've attempted to, you know, create this alternate reality where women actually want to see this shit? Because they don't. I can attest to this. My daughter's like, I don't know. I tried to buy her a Rey figurine, and she's like, "Who's that, Dad? She looks stupid." And I'm like, you know what? You got good eyes on you. you got A+ spectacles, little lady. So there you go. You know, like, if you're writing for my daughter, you know, serious miss. My son doesn't like her either. He said that she just looks boring, and I was like, she is that as well. She is both these things. Daisy Ridley, I want to imagine, will one day stun audiences. Like, do you remember the first time you realized Kristen Stewart could act? It was a mind fuck. She was in that goddamn film, Personal Fucking Shopper, and I was like, dude, she can act. And it was like mind blown. Well, you know, I'm sure Daisy Ridley at some point is going to come out of the closet as a great actress, but my God, woman, you're not doing it now. Now is the time to embrace your great actress. You know what? If they won't give you, this is something that's fascinating about hearing stories from really great actors who get bad parts. It's that they take over the part. They refuse to take the bad part. They're like, nah, I'm not going to do it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create a character out of nothing. And they literally do. They'll pull a goddamn good character out of your ass. Daisy Ridley, this was your chance. This was it. This was your chance to take from nothing and create a character of epic proportions. Give her like some kind of eye tick. You know, so that every time somebody says something like about Dracu or something, have her tick her eye or give her convulsions or seizures. Just fucking lay it on J.J. Abrams and be like, I'm sorry, dude. The part calls for it. Here it comes. I had a seizure. There's so much force in me. It's pulling itself out. And you'd be like, great idea, because I don't know how to write. And, you know, you could totally create a good character. You know, go balls to the wall, Daisy Ridley. This is your chance. If you want to teach young women how to be, like, strong, empowered women, take that goddamn awful part and create. But, no, she didn't. Anyway. Yeah. So, Star Wars is going to suck. I'm not going to watch it. You know what? There was a moment there where I was like, should I watch it? And then I was like, almost slapped myself. And I was like, why would you spend good money to see something that's going to be trash? And it is. Like, it can't be anything but trash. You know what this does, though? And I'll stand behind this. It makes Star Wars Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi great. Like, people used to think Return of the Jedi wasn't a great film. Watch it now. You will fucking clap your hands for the Ewoks. You will look like a fucking seal when they dance around. You will be so excited for those Ewoks to show up. You won't know what to do with yourself. Because although the Ewoks are silly, they're still better storytelling than Rey's character. Have you ever noticed that some of the Ewoks have more personality than Rey? I've noticed this. Like you can remember specific Ewoks, and they didn't talk English. You got to think, like, she has the advantage of talking English and still can't create a plausible character. Like, you just got outacted by a short person in a furry costume who wasn't allowed to speak English. I want you to think about that, Daisy Ridley. I want Daisy Ridley to wake up one night and think, wow, you know, Warwick Davis really gave me the old ass punch. You know, fucking ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, whatever. I hope that Rey never... you know what? Don't tell me. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what happens in Star Wars. I don't care. I don't care. You know what? I'm sure Rey forms a blowhole, becomes a manta ray or a young walrus, maybe a whale, goes off blowing water out of the air, because why the hell not? Or by comparison, she grows a tail. The tail is then seen as the god of the universe. I mean, it's like, who fucking cares? Anybody who's invested in this, good God, get a hobby. Like, honestly, get a hobby. Go and find something to do. You know, read a book. Go back and read the plethora of great Star Wars books that were written, because there's a lot of them with really wonderful stories that have character arcs and interesting, investable moments in them, and like awe-inspiring vistas that you have to create mentally instead of watching this trash. Please, just do it. Do it for me. Do it for me. Say no for me. When you go to the box office and they say, do you want a ticket to Star Wars? You say no. And I'm doing it for Stu.